Hi, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at this axe handle protector. It's a two-piece project. I've already done the first piece, so this is just me catching you up on the second piece. The first was exactly the same as this, so you've not missed anything. So we're just wetting it here, getting it nice and moist, ready to carve. So here's the other piece that we did earlier. So here I'm just lining up what I use as my stitch guide, making sure it's the right width, and I'm going to mark out my border. So this is, it's not a sharp tool, it just marks the leather. So we're going to go along that later with a knife and carve into that. Here I'm just marking my centre lines, so when I apply the pattern I know I'm in the middle, or working from the middle. This is what's known as a craft aid. Tandy sell them. They're really useful for doing these kind of patterns. It's a standardised pattern. It's a repeating pattern if you want to do a belt or something. One side's shiny, one side's embossed with the pattern. So you put the embossed side down and you rub it, and it leaves an impression on the leather that you then follow around with your knife. It's a really simple way of doing it, but the results are really effective. So you got to press pretty hard, so I'm just trying a couple of different ways to get the impression that I want. This ended up being the most easy. Some people use a modelling spoon or other ways of doing it, but you get the same result. Okay, that's good. So you can start to see that there. And turn it around to the other side. There you go. So you can see it's left a really nice imprint there. So these are my swivel knives, or my swivel knife, and the two blades that I have for it. For the border, I'm going to be using the larger of the two. So it's a square blade. It's the one that comes with the knife. I'm just putting that in now. We'll come back to that other blade later. So again, just keeping that leather moist. We don't want it wet, we just want it moist. And if it's too wet, when we try and cut it with the knife, it gets all sloppy and horrible. If it's too dry, the knife won't cut properly. So it's kind of getting that Goldilocks ratio, making sure it's just right. So here I am, just carefully following that line down. Remember, this is double speed, so I'm going a bit slower than this. This is all it takes for the border. I'm doing this freehand, so it's not perfect, but it's reasonably close. Okay, that's the border. Okay, so we're going to just change the two blades over. So this second blade, it's a smaller, more delicate blade. It's got an angled edge as opposed to a square edge, so it can get in tighter spaces and do more detailed work. Right, so now I'm just going to start carving on this flower. So we're just going to follow those lines with the knife. As we get to the end of a line, we'll kind of pull out gently, and it gives a nice, almost tapered end to the cut. One of the things I would suggest when you're doing this is to start looking at the pattern as a picture. It's very easy to get kind of drawn into just looking at it as though it's lines, and we just cut the lines. if you start to engage with it as an actual image, it will help you further down the line when we start tooling it. You start to understand which bit is a leaf, which bit is background, because quite often when you just cut in lines, it either all looks like leaf or all looks like background. It's not always obvious. So if you engage with it now, work that out now, it'll save you some time later on. So you see here, this is called a swivel knife, if you don't know. The idea is that you keep the knife upright, which I'm not doing very well here. I need to work on my technique. So you're supposed to keep it fairly upright, and you twist it as you draw along the lines. You swivel. There are bearings, so that yoke at the top that holds your finger, you keep downward pressure on that, and you twist with your thumb and your finger. Guys who are really good at this can do circles really easily. It's quite impressive. Again, there you see those veins along that leaf. I'm just pulling out towards the end, just to give it a sleek finish, if that's the word. Coming to the end of the pattern now. So if this was on a belt, you'd obviously carry on. But the flower at this end is the same as the flower at the previous end, so you just overlay that and carry on going to repeat the pattern. There we go. Check out the website, bentleyleathercraft.com, or find me on Instagram at bentleyleathercraft, on my Etsy store. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.